earlier today, someone sent in my Discord server a video from TikTok where this guy, Tamo, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. They made a video, and let's just go ahead and take a look at it. I'm going to let the video do the speaking.
To the white guy that called me slurs over and over again in my live stream the other night for no reason, guess what? You're going to get kicked out of the United States Navy. You know how they tell us that we should be careful what we do on social media because there could be real life consequences? Hi, my name's Real Life Consequence. I've done a thorough background check, and now I know everything about you. I know what little town in Texas you're from. I know your name, your phone number, your email address. I've seen your disciplinary records. I know the names of all of your family members, including your dead mother and your daughter who turns 2 next week, and her mother who's gonna have to pay for all the birthday presents this year because you came into my live stream and saw a black man who was talking about Pokemon cards and video games, and you assumed, yeah, he's not gonna do anything if I call him slurs repeatedly even though he's trying to help me. Turns out I am gonna do something. Turns out there are so many things I can do because I have all the screenshots, I have all of the recordings. I know that after you left my live stream, you went into someone else's and started talking about how much you love Jesus and God in the Bible. So maybe I should send that evidence to the church you go to in that little town we both know about. I know exactly which boat in the Navy you serve on, and I know the names of black sailors that serve on the same boat as you. Maybe I'll send the clips to them as well. But only after I send them to the Naval Inspector General's office because I'm getting you fired. I'm getting you kicked out of the Navy. There's nothing you can do to stop me. There is no apology I will accept. There is no excuse I will listen to. There is no money you could offer me. You're getting fired. And when you're working the graveyard shift in an Amazon warehouse and your back hurts and your feet hurt and those white bright lights are beating down on you and the teenager who still has his life ahead of him walks up to you and says, "What are you doing here?" Tell him the truth. Tell him about me.
Yeah, so I saw this morning in my Discord, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it, all right? Because I've thought about it all day. It's been on my head. It's been on my mind, and, you know, I talked about it with some friends, and, yeah, I obviously do not feel bad for the racist chatter, okay? Now, let me make something clear. I don't really condone doxing. I still think it's a really shitty thing to do. But you know what? In situations like this, I think this is like one of those scenarios where it's like, you know, I don't know. I don't think, I think this is one of those scenarios where it's like, you know, you fuck around, you find out, you know what I mean? You go around spewing hate, you know, you're going to get, some shit thrown right back at you. You know what I mean? I will say, though, just as like, I think as like a fellow content creator, I just kind of want to give my, you know, 2 cents on it, right? And I would say, like, as somebody that's, you know, been on the internet streaming for a while, making videos for a while, I've been in drama. I've been in situations. I've had people, you know, come in my chat, you know, come in my comments, say all sorts of crazy things. You know, I've gotten death threats. I've had people wish death on me, you know. Like I said, I've had death threats, you know, people threaten me, all sorts of crazy stuff. You know, there's even been some scenarios where, you know, people, you know, grab my IP and post it, all sorts of things. And the thing is that, like, I feel like things like, you know, racism and stuff like that, unfortunately, like, especially in our current climate in America, stuff like that is kind of just like going to be expected when you're streaming. It kind of just, it's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. And like, you know, I don't know if this dude was just doing this like one example to like make this guy, you know, an example out of like, you know, to everybody else that was thinking about doing the same thing. Like, I'm just saying, like I said, I don't condone doxing. I do not condone doxing. But like I said, yeah, it's just hard to feel bad for him. You know who I feel bad for, though, and why I kind of have mixed feelings on the streamer doxing this guy, is I feel bad for the family around him that is, to a degree, going to have to suffer, you know, losing their anonymity because, you know, their dad's a moron, or their husband's a moron, or their brother's a moron, or their uncle's a moron, whoever this guy is to whoever. You know, it's very unfortunate that the people around him got to suffer because of his actions, you know, going around in people's streams being racist and shit. But I don't know. I feel like as a content creator, you do have to have some pretty thick skin. I'm going to be straight up. Like I said, I'm not, you know, pro what that guy said. I'm not trying to defend that guy, but you really do got to have some thick skin if you want to be in this if you want to be in this field, you know what I mean? I mean, shit. Like the dude said, like, you know, he was just talking about like Pokemon cards, and, you know, he had that racist guy come up in and, you know, just start, you know, talking crazy, right? And like for me, hang on, let me get my jacket on. I'm getting kind of cold. As I was saying, yeah. You know, there's been times where I've made videos on popular content creators that, you know, people really like, and they don't like me criticizing them. And, you know, I'll wake up and, you know, the next morning after making that video, I'll have some, you know, a few thousand views, and I'll have a few DMs on Discord, you know, threatening to take my life, or, you know, calling me slurs, or being racist to me, or homophobic to me, or, you know, all sorts of things to me, you know. And my first instinct isn't really to go dox them. Just going to be straight up. That's not usually my first instinct. Usually my first instinct is to just block them, mute them, get rid of them, get them out of there. You know what I mean? Just get them the hell out of there. Get them the hell out of there. But yeah, that's my first instinct. It's just like, as a content creator, that's just kind of what you got to do, is just silence it, mute it, block them, get rid of it, just get it out of there and move on, keep trucking. You know what I mean? That's just what you got to do. And I'm not saying that this guy just goes around doxing people, for the record. I'm not trying to say that, but, you know, I guess I'm just saying this, or putting this out there for anybody else that's like thinking, oh, you know, is this what we should do anytime somebody causes problems in our chat? And to that, I'd say probably not. But I will say this was pretty satisfying to watch. Pretty satisfying.